This is Review Your Gear Radio with your hosts Chris Husted and Jason Renner. Coming to you with the latest topics, reviews, and techniques for hunting and fishing in the Midwest. And here they are, Chris and Jason. Take it away, boys.
Hello, Review Your Gear Radio. I'm Chris Husted.
Jason Renner.
This is Season 4, Episode 17. It's the We're Not Clever for a Fancy Title edition.
Where'd you come up with that one?
I'm clever. So, let's kick it off. I got to start right off with what's going on lately in the shop. The Yar-Craft got a serious bath. And when I say got a bath, I mean...
3-4 nights up.
Yeah, no, it's clean. It was clean to start, really, but the floor needed, and there was some blood stains. And
for Husted standards, it was very clean.
Yes, it was.
And now it's like
it's uber clean.
It's uber clean. It's like,
well, again, I want to have a sharp boat going to the Yar-Craft tournament, so
you got to be fancy for the Yar-Craft.
You got to be fancy for the Yar-Craft tournament coming up on the 24th. So we are 9 days away as we do this, 8 when it goes live tomorrow. So, yeah, it's coming up. And I get to go fishing tomorrow.
That you do.
I'm pretty excited. I already have the game plan in my head, what to do and where I want to cover. So,
are you going to actually start on the east end, or are you still pushing middle?
I'm going to do a little bit of both, actually. It's supposed to be really calm wind tomorrow. So it'll be easy to move around.
Gotcha.
You know, if it's really windy, I try to keep my, not go the distance and, but when it's ripples, I'm going.
Cue the cake. He's going the distance.
Ah, he's going for speed. So, best way to clean boat floors and carpet. Honestly, we took it over and sprayed it down, with a pressure washer. Even the carpet. It's amazing the dirt you see coming out of the carpet, even when you don't think it's that dirty.
There is one thing I'm going to save it for later in one of our topics for podcasts, but I got an idea.
Okay. Wow. It must be a really good idea.
It's a great idea.
You're not even willing to share.
I'm being greedy about it.
Wow. But yeah, that was nice. I mean, the boat still needs a little detailing, needs some hot sauce, which goes into the next question. Can you still beat hot sauce for boat detailing? I mean, seriously.
That whole line I've looked at, pretty highly rated.
I have only used the hot sauce, but, for the motor, for the boat, water spots, even for if you have, bug spots, a couple of dead bugs on the side of the boat.
But what do you use on your windshield?
I use, I don't even know the brand of it. It's light blue and white metal can. I think you can get at Wally World. Yeah. I use that in paper towels.
Supposedly that hot sauce brand has a windshield thing that prevents spots and it's supposed to clean up nice too on that.
Really?
I think it's from that. I was reading on the forums the other day. Just kind of peeking on detailing, talking about putting boats away, tucking in, how to clean them up, detail them, stuff like that. So
sure.
It might be worth checking out. That whole line is pretty solid.
Right on. And the bottles look cool.
They're black and green, or black and red,
or whatever.
Black and blue.
See, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
So, if you're shopping for a fiberglass boat today, this is a really loaded question, but what would you look for?
Well, this is kind of where I was waiting for best ways to clean boats and floors.
Okay.
I don't know which ones do. I know a few do, but having a wash down system to me.
In the floor?
Doesn't
Yar-Craft have that in their 219?
It might be. I know Warrior has one.
I swear they do, but go on.
But having that wash down system just pumps water directly, you spray it down as soon as it happens, because I think the faster it happens, because
But let's be honest. Okay, I'm not the one that's going to spend an hour after we get off the water at the landing cleaning my boat. I just don't. I know some guys, it's a whole thing.
But that's why I think a washdown for trollers,
Yeah.
for guys that like to troll, and
Oh, so you're doing it on the boat?
that washdown system, you do it while you're on the boat.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Spray it down.
I see what you're saying now. That you're talking about like after the fact. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or you got a buddy who tied one on too much the night before and didn't make it over the rail.
Oh, then you just push them over and you're like, hey, dude, sober up. I'll pick you up later. Swim it off.
Swim it
off. But seriously, what do you look for nowadays? First of all, you I hate to say it, but you almost have to go with some of the names. Not necessarily because this name is better than that name, but for resale value. There's some you want to stay away from, maybe, and I don't want to pick on any brands.
Well, yeah. Let's not go there.
Yeah, that's not the point. But the point is
I think the funny thing is what I've really started to notice is the difference between, there's almost like boats that fit trollers and boats that fit, kind of like live baiters.
Right. So some have big fronts.
Correct. And some have a little bit more
in the back.
And a little bit more open layout for, if you're, running the rods or stuff like that. The more I see it on glass boats, I like the track system over the rails.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Having owned both, I like the tracks better.
Just because they're more versatile. And God, what can't you buy that doesn't go in those tracks now?
Right.
I mean, rod trees, holders, tool holders, downrigger mounts. You can pretty much put anything into those things.
I'll be doing that in the off season too. Adding on to mine.
Downriggers?
No, but extra like rod trees and I'm sure there's got to be a net holder. I want a net holder. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds elementary, but I just don't have a perfect place to put a net in my boat.
I'm trying to think here. You don't have like that ski pole slot behind your live well?
No.
Okay.
I just don't. Most boats have that problem. You have a net and you're like, okay, where do I put it? Where you're not stepping over it, moving it 40 times a day.
One thing I really like about my brother's Skeeter
is that underneath
that's got that ski pole holder right.
Oh, in the back. Okay.
And that net just goes.
Yep, I know some have it underneath, so it kind of fits underneath the rod locker.
Yeah.
I
like, but that's kind of, that's not as ready.
That's for runs.
Yeah.
But when you're actually fishing, it's not as convenient.
No, I really,
I see. I want to have one, like I said, an attachment where it can go up, but like during tournaments or during certain times of the year, I don't want my net up in the air. Does that make sense?
No.
Because every time you go to reach it, it's like waving a flag.
It's like, that's playing tennis over here.
Just saying.
I laugh at some of the guys that have the bright green baskets.
Oh, yeah.
To each their own.
Hey, you want bright green? Go. Knock yourself out. But seriously, what is a must-have in a fiberglass glue? It can't be a net holder.
No. Like I said, washdown system. I really like tracks.
But those are add-ons. Like, in the boat itself. Let's start with the hull. You did mention some have, like, some brands have enormous front decks. There's a boat I looked at the other week that has, it's a 23-footer that has the biggest back deck ever. But then, if your cockpit is up in the front of the boat, that's got to be a rougher ride, right?
You would think.
The further back in the boat, the easier of a ride it should
Because
be.
that was kind of that hybrid. You remember the Gary Roach Edition Pro V hybrid?
What year?
Oh, God, it was like 98, 99, maybe early 2000.
Okay, my dad had the prototype. It said Mercury on the side. It was the 25th anniversary or whatever the heck it was.
I don't remember this one, but
Okay.
it was like, it set the hull or the cockpit like almost back, almost tiller position, but not quite. It was, Gary Roach designed it with Lund. I know there's a few out there, but I mean, supposedly that was a really good riding boat for the.
Well, I'm sure it is,
Yeah.
but the only thing when you're really far back in the boat, it's almost like a tiller. It's kind of hard to see.
Correct. I think that was the knock on it. It was just tough to see.
Right.
But I know, Crestliner, and that's away from fiberglass. They had a trolling edition. They had a casters edition on some of their boats.
Right.
Where they moved the cockpit, front and back.
I think the first thing, if you're going to look at, like you said, too, in a fiberglass boat is the layout. And one of the biggest ones for me was not having that bunk kick-out storage in the back.
I've never cared for it.
But some people love it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Some people are like, hey, I got all my stuff back there. It's just whatever. But you do sacrifice room. I do like having it flush.
There's a couple companies that have made
removable. Correct.
I do.
But let's be honest. You're never going to do it. How often are you going to remove it? I'm just being honest.
You're either going to have them in there or you're not.
You're not going to be removing them very often. You may do it once if your kids are going tubing or something stupid, but even then, it's just a pain in the butt. I don't care how easy it is to remove it in and out. It's a novel idea. I just don't think it's a game changer. I don't know.
But here's the other question that I've, besides the actual technology of the hull, have we kind of hit a kind of a maximum, like what we can actually change or tweak or
no? Yeah, yes and no. Yes, I think we've hit where they just keep getting bigger. Like you can only do a 21, 22 foot boat so many ways, and now you're starting to see 23s, right?
Correct.
What's unfortunate, and I'm not going to pick on any brands, but with some of them, they already peaked in their quality years back. Like, if you make any shortcuts in the boat, in the hull itself, it makes a big difference in the end. And you're seeing that.
And here's the other problem. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing because it's so publicized out. Like every little thing that goes wrong is put on the internet.
Right.
Social media, someplace. I had this.
Yes and no. A lot of guys hide hull stuff. You know why? Resale. They don't want everyone to know they had hull issues because when you go to sell the boat, no one's going to want to buy it.
Correct. But you go on some of the owners' websites, it's like, oh, this problem, or they didn't punch this out, or I got a crack in the gel coat, or this, or, there's lots of stuff out there like that.
Right. And I hate to sound like a whatever, but it's kind of why I like my boat currently. There's just not much to go wrong on it. And I'm in the owners groups for those. I mean, all I ever see is new boats, everyone, excitement. I don't see, and if you see any complaints, it's with the motor.
The one thing that I've, and I used to be in the industry, used to be a salesperson. The one thing I have always noticed about Yar-Craft is loyalty. That brand loyalty over there is just, it's always been there. I mean, guys have owned Yar-Craft after Yar-Craft after Yar-Craft. I mean, don't get me wrong.
That says a lot, though.
There's a lot of guys that swear by other.
No, I know.
Or whatever. I mean, but when I worked in the industry, one of the most loyal followings I remember and I've ever read about is in the Yar-Craft line.
And that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
So, I mean, anyways.
But not much changed from your boat from when I sold it in 2010.
Right. But there's supposedly might be some new stuff coming out next year. We'll see.
Shh.
Hey,
Secret.
that's okay. People are going to find out anyways. But also must-haves for a boat, if you're talking electronics, I've been in a lot of boats this year, and I am totally sold that you still have to, in North Dakota, on the lakes that I fish, you still have to run a bird simply for the mapping, for one.
Like I said, the only place that does not shine in North Dakota is by the dam. My brother's hummingbird, by the dam, I have to pull out my avionics stuff to.
That's interesting because, like, I've fished a tournament where the structure that I found in my boat and my bird, you could not even see it on my buddy's Garmin. You couldn't see it. Like, it didn't exist. And it kind of looked like it was there, but it was completely shifted and wrong. I had to use my phone, running Hummingbird on my phone, to literally navigate. It was weird.
Garmin, you gotta spend the $250 and get the.
I don't know if he didn't. He must not have done that then.
You have to have the upper chip because the factory stuff that's supposedly supposed to be. I mean, it's decent, but you have to have that chip. I have noticed that difference in between some other guys and what I have on my Garmin.
Okay. Well, to be honest, we could talk about must-haves for a boat. That could be a whole episode. I mean, easy.
Here's one. I'm going to throw one out there. And me and my brother had this discussion because one of our other buddies has the guard around his kicker.
Okay.
And you fish tournaments.
Okay.
This is why I'm saying this. Is putting the guard on that kicker. It's mainly made for rocks and stuff like that when you use that. But you put that guard on there, is it worth the investment to save from that line from a fish going into that kicker a couple times a year?
What does it run?
I think it's like $100.
Oh, well,
$100. I mean, when you think about it, it's a simple little thing, but it might save you. Not only protects your prop on your kicker from damage, but let's say you do got a nice fish, and
that makes sense. We did. Actually, we had the only incident we had this year was with the big motor, but not with the kicker. But yeah. I get it.
I mean, it's not a bad theory. I do not mind that theory at all. So it's actually kind of smart of me, in my humbled opinion.
That's a humble opinion, sir.
Plus, it wouldn't hurt having that on the river.
Right. No.
When you're trolling, 3-4 foot,
right,
like we do here,
Exactly. Hey, Mr. Renner.
Yes, sir.
Let's have some tales from the Chub Tank.
Tales from the Chub Tank.
I am actually kind of excited to go chub fishing on Sunday.
It's supposed to be nice.
I mean, I literally had that day on the calendar for like a week already. Like, I knew, like, that was the day I was going to chub. Because I'm leaving Tuesday. 2 days, next Tuesday. So, for the big lake, and I wanted to have some to pre-fish. So, I got a buddy coming, a couple buddies actually. We're gonna have a good time. I talked to the farmer, got his number now, so I don't have to worry about stopping by the farm. And he even offered, which was so cool, he offered to let us drive because it's a pasture piece.
No.
And there is a set of tracks that runs right next to the creek. And I was eyeballing it last time, like, oh wow, this. I'm not gonna lie, this would be nice, but I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna ask. I'll walk. I don't care. But if you're offering, I will take it. So, because it does go a ways back.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be extremely nice. I'm gonna try to get as many as I possibly can for pre-fishing, and then of course some for the tournament. I don't need a ton, but I want to pre-fish with some of them. I do have a few areas that we've been using fatheads.
Gotcha.
And I want to come back with a little bit bigger presentation.
Has that changeover happened? Or is it done crawler season? Are we?
I wouldn't say it's done. Like, I'll have crawlers next week, but right now I have more confidence in minnows.
Gotcha.
It's probably 50-50, right? I don't know. The water temp's dropping, and you know all crawlers just... But then again, when it's raining, they can come out, right? So...
Correct.
And it's been wet. It's kind of wet. I don't know. We'll see. I'll experiment. I'll be honest again. You know, I just am a traditional hunter in the fall. So I don't claim to be the most experienced
fall fishing
guy. So that's fun though, because you know, it's half the fun is learning it. You know,
Correct.
Trying to figure it out. So
Correct.
Before we go to break, I'm just gonna make an announcement.
Uh-oh.
Mono sucks with snap weights.
So I'm not gonna lie, I giggled when I saw this today. So why does it suck so bad?
Okay, I shouldn't say mono sucks. That maybe is not fair. 10-pound trilene with 5 or 8 ounce snap weights, like we were testing. I couldn't detect bottom very well if the crank was dragging on bottom. It kind of the pinch point. I went. I did end up taking 500 feet off and added 400 feet a 20-pound test.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna run a little bit heavier. I think that'll help. So I'm only testing on 2 rods tomorrow.
Okay. So you're running 20-pound mono.
Correct. What did I say? I thought I said mono.
You just said 20 pounds.
Yeah, 20-pound mono. So it's technically a 10-pound backing, but I put like 400, a little over 400 feet. That's enough for testing tomorrow, and I'm gonna have weights on it just to see how much of a difference it makes.
Okay.
That is the one nice thing about Power Pro. You know, when you clip a weight on it and it goes down, you see every little jiggle on that crank, and you know if it's fouled, if it picked up a weed, or whatever. You can see it plain as day. On mono, not so much. That's the one part. But then with mono, again, you get that stretch, where with Power Pro, you're putting it all in your drag on your reel.
Correct. Just wonder if a softer rod would solve that.
Maybe.
Like, a lot of these trolling...
Yeah, they're a little stiff.
They're a little stiff. They don't have that taper all the way back into the backbone. Well, most of them are either... thinking they were not 2-piece, but where they telescopic.
Yeah.
So I think they're a little stiffer because of that. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of my question. The other one would be is, I noticed that downrigger rods have a little bit more of a softer give to them. And I wonder with Power Pro and the trolling weights, I wonder if there would be better hookups there because of the softer.
Well, this is the fun part, is learning.
Yeah.
Testing it out, seeing.
One way to find out.
I've been using the same stuff forever. So this is kind of going back to 101, when you're testing different line. I mean, that's something you should have, had dialed. I mean, we had it dialed in, but I just think we could miss less bites. See what I'm saying?
Correct.
You do miss quite a few fish instantly. They're on for like a second and they get off. Yeah. If you have mono, I think you might get some of those fish.
Because I've had a couple buddies pulling for salmon, shallow, last couple of evenings. They've had some strikes, and they didn't hook up. So I'm wondering if he was running 20-pound mono on the same rig, if they would hooked up or not.
Right. Well, that's why I switched to mono.
Saying,
Right.
it's curious to see, what that percentage is. So
Sure. Makes sense, sir. And with that being said, we'll be right back here on Review Your Gear Radio. And we're back here on Review Your Gear Radio. You ever listen to the segment change without a commercial? It's like, we'll be right back here on Review Your Radio. And we're back. We need a commercial in there or something. Maybe we'll put a Wendy's, like, square burger commercial or something stupid. No Wendy's square burgers?
Where's the beef?
So I'm done with swivels and leg core. Yes, I know that's rookie. I am embarrassed to admit. See, in the older days, you used thick leg core.
Correct.
Okay? Leg core was thick. You peel out the lead, say 3 inches of it. You shove the line in there. You do that loop knot or overhand, whatever they call
Overhand loop knot.
Yeah, and tighten it, and that worked extremely well. Simple. The new leg core is so thin that I couldn't use 20-pound. Tess couldn't shove up that stupid.
Because the Dacron's not thick enough?
It's just not thick enough. So I had to get a little bit, do some tweaking. But, using those swivels, just having a swivel going through the guides,
it breaks.
I use leg core a lot now. I didn't used to 5-10 years ago. I used leg core a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm using it a lot more than I used to, and it was just time. I gotta step up my game. So
how are you doing a specific knot to join them?
I'm embarrassed to admit I can't remember the name of the knot I used. I did use Google and YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, because I was so used to the other knot. So. But yeah, it wasn't hard.
Uni knot?
No, it was.
Bimini twist?
It was. I can't remember. Honestly, I'm embarrassed to admit that, but I forget. With that being said, let's have a Mille Minute.
This is your Mille Minute. Possession limit is 1 from September 1st through November 30th. Only one walleye between 20 and 23 inches in length, or one walleye 26 inches or greater is legal to keep. All other walleyes must be released immediately upon catching. This has been your Mille Minute.
I'm so glad crawler season is over. I know we talked about it earlier, but I'm coming back to it because the mess, bedding, dirt. Heaven forbid you actually have dirt, because usually it's bedding.
That's why I think a wash down system.
Yeah.
To spray the carpet right away. I mean... And I wish the bait shops would just put wet newspapers, and get away from the dirt in the crawler containers.
I agree. Bedding is not expensive, even if you buy it.
Yeah.
In bulk.
Well, I know guys who won't even put that bedding in their well.
Well, but it's a lot better than dirt.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't even put the dirt. They take all the crawlers out and put it into... I don't know, what do they put it into? Or
I've heard guys put them in water, and then if you separate the dirt or and then you put the crawlers in like a Ziploc or a container. But I don't know. I rock it old school. I don't know. I just
don't care.
I don't care. Like when I buy a flat, in the morning I grab a bunch of handfuls, throw it in there, put the ice around it. Pick as I go.
Yeah. Doesn't Hagen make like a crawler keeper that has ice around the outside of it?
Yeah, I had one. It was more novel. I mean, really, you could do the same thing. You can go to Wally World and buy for like $1 one of those little mini stick in the freezer ice, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can just throw one of those down. I just wrapped it in paper towel.
Yeah.
and then threw all the crawlers on top of it. I mean, I never had a problem.
Yeah.
Even on the hottest days.
Well, the other thing is you can almost buy an insulated, like, lunch.
That's what actually I used. I bought like a $2 or $3 container with a plastic insert.
Yeah.
So it's, if it doesn't make a mess, stays in there. And it all in all cost me like $3, and it's actually a fantastic crawler setup.
Nothing wrong with that.
I loved it so much I bought a second setup, another ice pack and another container, just so I can rotate and keep it dry.
I think you can find those in the dollar stores.
You probably could, but Wally World, it's a couple bucks. It's there. Why do I always feel so dirty talking like does anyone ever honestly admits they shop at Wally World with like a smile, like, hey, I went to Wally World today. It was awesome.
But there's, I mean, there ain't a whole lot of options out there.
Do you remember the options we had in town before it came? There was a fair amount of mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
That closed. So, I mean, comes with the price. So,
yeah, exactly.
Let's add some headlines. So, this is going to be a rarity. I'm sourcing CNN. A 7-foot Mako shark jumps in a fishing boat. Now, they were fishing for, I think, blue sharks, which are smaller. And the kid hooked a Mako. You'd have to go to the link to see the video, but it jumped in the boat, and it darn near landed on the kid.
They're notorious for jumping. Makos are notorious.
It made 4 jumps, and one literally in the boat almost hit this 15-year-old. It actually did hit him in the cheek with his tail.
Oh, jeez.
That's how close.
Well, there's another relative of the Mako, long tail, thresher shark.
Thresher?
It's called a thresher shark.
Yeah.
And those things have been known to almost like kill people if you get hit in the rib cages with them or something like that. So, I mean, dangerous stuff. I mean, shark fishing, no joke. I mean, but the video is pretty intense on this. I watched it. I had to watch it. It was just one of those things where you gotta watch it. So,
right.
It's pretty impressive.
An animal rights group is targeting lobsters in fear of endangering whales. Now, this is where I'm going to come pretty close to going on a rant. I'm not gonna, but I'm going to come close. Because this group placed lobster fishing on what's called the red list, which is like a new saying for bad. And with that being said, there's a type of whales called the North Atlantic right whales that can become tangled in the nets. However, the proponents, the people against it are saying there's literally no proof of this being an issue. Like,
yeah, because they don't use nets for lobsters. They use traps.
That's what I mean, but they're getting caught supposedly in the strings. Like, I don't know. That's what they're claiming. However, there's no evidence of this. So the fact that a group is saying this, and restaurants and places are already pulling lobsters from their menus. So, I mean, it's already having a immediate impact on the lobster industry, all be over words. You see what I'm saying? It's just another one of those things where it's almost people are just too quick to have snap judgments on everything. That's my rant. Is, before everyone's going to freak out that the sky is falling, it's not the lobster's fault.
The problem is half these people think that the cows come from perfectly. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Their yogurt comes from. That's what frustrates myself.
Well, it's not going to get any easier, sir. You want to know why? Because I got one more kind of a nutty article. A hunting activist uses the media to criticize dove hunting in Texas. Now, what's interesting about this article, first of all, it was an opinion piece, okay? But it is on their website. And so it's criticizing, obviously, dove hunting in basically every way. They claim approximately 6 million doves are killed or harvested annually in Texas.
Oh, it's huge.
30% of the national total. That's a lot. And so he's trying to say, dove's a bird of peace. There's not enough food there, so how dare would you eat it? What's also interesting is they claim that it takes the average hunter in Texas expends 8 shots for every one dove killed and captured. If that's true, I'm not saying it is, because I don't know where they're getting this fact. If that is true, I'm sorry, Texas, you guys would have to be the worst shots in the nation. Because, you're literally, if the limit's 15, that means it's going to take you 5 boxes to get your limit.
Yeah, this is, I just don't get it. And, where some of the verbiage in here is just, it's just not. Oh, direct. Did you read who the author's from?
Who?
Go down. Kristen Dunn, Director of Development for PETA.
I didn't even see it was PETA. That makes a lot more sense. But what's also interesting is they're talking about how it's not fair that they use decoys to fool the doves.
Again, it's more of controlling the population. So, Miss, what was her name?
Her name would be No, excuse me. I was about to raise. That's from the town.
It's on the bottom.
Kristen Dunn.
Miss Kristen can have her Gucci purse and from her mini malls and destroying habitat for their wedding grounds, probably, or something like that. So, I'm just gonna go there.
What makes sense in the world today, anyways? So that was your headlines. So hunting ducks. Hunting season's coming up. Field or water, sir? If you had a choice.
This is a debate that, we're not getting younger.
Yeah, so I know where you're going to go with this one, but go on.
I mean, and trudging through knee-high, ankle-deep mud for ducks it's not appealing to me anymore.
Temporary wetlands are typically mud.
Correct.
Typically. And permanent wetlands sometimes are hard bottom.
Correct.
It's kind of all over the board. However, you and I both know the place to be is in the temporary wetlands, usually.
Especially for greenheads.
Exactly, for puddlers. For me, it's a field because obviously I'm going to try to get geese too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a no-brainer there. But I used to always say it doesn't feel like fall unless you strap on the waders at least once.
I know, but it's just, with my knee problems.
It's hard on your knees. When every step's a chore.
God, it's just
And when you're sinking, North Dakota mud is no joke.
No, it's not. There's no hard bottom. Even the hard bottom's still not hard bottom.
Right.
The other thing is just filling your waders, finding that leaky spot, because who has time anymore to check their waders for you?
Right. I get it. Why don't you go out and spend $1,000 in those new name brand waders?
1,000?
Yeah, they're like $1,000.
I thought they were like 1,200.
Well, 1,200,000. 4 digits. It's a lot of money for waders.
That's a shotgun.
Yeah.
That's a nice shotgun.
You better hope you go in the waders a lot. So let's jump from duck hunting to ice fishing real quick. Ice auger. Everyone's got an ice auger with the lithium battery now.
Okay. In some shape or form, it seems.
Yep.
Like whether it's the drill kits or I got a Strike Master battery operated last year.
I know you love it.
I like that thing.
Yep.
It's just, I think with everything coming, but you do bring a valid point, is the only thing that sucks is I have a spare battery for it, but it's almost like I have to keep it in my pocket.
Yep, you gotta keep it warm.
Gotta keep them warm. I'm just, is there going to be a technology eventually where these batteries
Eventually.
out?
I really think, now I'm not an engineer, so this is going to be a little ignorant, but it seems to me that we're pushing battery technology almost too fast. Does that make sense?
Like we're discovering the shortcomings.
Well,
too late.
Kind of. Well, I don't want to get into like knocking. This isn't an anti-EV rant, but
yeah,
you see a lot of videos on the internet of vehicles literally going up in flames for whatever, no reason.
Yeah.
And some of these batteries fail easy. They don't have as long a life as you'd like them.
I've seen pictures of the other one I see is the put in lithium batteries into campers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the campers, because a lot of these have those automatic switchover, when you plug them in,
yep,
they charge your batteries. Well, those charging systems aren't meant for lithium. And then it blows up, starts a fire, and it's like releases like this toxic gas that almost makes you sick. Like almost immediately. So it's just like,
I just feel like I know we're getting close, but I don't know. There's a lot I think we don't know yet about lithium batteries. And as all these lithium batteries stack up, I mean, I'm not this big environment guy, but what do you do with all this wasted lithium batteries?
Remember when like rechargeable batteries were like a thing and charge them over. And we've kind of advanced that technology, but then you hardly hear about, these lithium batteries. They're rechargeable, but they do wear out.
Right.
But nobody talks about where you're throwing that away.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
The world is a crazy place, Mr. Renner. It's a crazy place. But tell me this, cooking on the stone.
What's cooking on the stone?
I know what you're expecting me to say. Bacon. Because anytime I'm cooking a lot of bacon,
it's on the stone.
It's on the stone. Because I just don't like, anytime I do it in the house, it gets smoky, and then the pan you have to let it cool down, then you have that fat layer, you have to, all that fun stuff. Blackstone takes seconds just to clean that bad boy, scrape in the, back, done.
I like shrimp on it. I think it's my favorite vessel to cook shrimp on.
One thing I don't like about a Blackstone and shrimp?
What's that?
If you put it on a skewer and you stick it on the stone, there's always like a couple shrimp that are bigger than the others, and it kind of raises the other shrimp off of the stone, and it doesn't always cook evenly.
I know it's recommended to skewer them. I haven't.
I don't do it anymore either, but I did after I had one skewer experience like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some of them, like the big ones, get like really cooked, and the ones in the smaller ones just are just getting cooked.
That's like people that, if you put two different vegetables like on your kebabs, one that cooks faster and one that cooks slower, that sometimes it feels like one's raw and one's overcooked.
Yep.
It's just that same concept.
Kebabs, ooh, should do. I had, like I told you off the break, I made super nachos tonight, but I think kebabs should be the next. We need to make walleye kebabs. I know you can do it. I saw a recipe for it, but I didn't look closely, but maybe it makes sense. Why couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. You could do, or you can also keep the fillet in one piece instead of splitting it.
That reminds me, too. Guess what I got for the boat tomorrow?
What's that?
Soy ginger.
Yeah, you got some.
I saved some of your smoked salmon, bud.
I'm surprised you saved it.
To be honest, you brought it over. I threw it in the fridge. It got buried right away, and I forgot about it. Tonight I was digging. I'm like, oh, I need to bring that tomorrow. So yeah, it's definitely hitting the boat. So I'm gonna ask you this because you're Mr. Smoke Master. What is some common meat smoking mistakes?
Undercooking.
And what's the reasoning? How are people ending up undercooking?
The biggest thing is like, I'm going to say, like brisket, pork butt, you got to get it to a certain temperature. There's just that sweet spot, just like pulled pork, got to get it to 200. Brisket, 205. There's just something magical about that number. The other thing is not resting.
Not resting.
Not resting the meat. When you cook it, once you get it there, before you either cut your brisket or shred your pork, is rest that a good half hour in foil in a cooler. Let those juices come back into it, because then your meat it just, everybody likes that when you got that good pulled pork, good brisket. It's got that juice to it. It's got that.
Okay.
That
yeah.
That, and resting is super important. The other thing I also see is sometimes, and the other thing is overcooking. Cooking, you're afraid to you're cooking it to 220, 230, overcooking, smoked salmon. A lot of guys overcook it so there's no moisture left into it. There's that fine point there. And the biggest thing is, and I just think I'm going to order a second one, is I got these Wi-Fi. It's called the Meter. Not sponsored by them, but it's a Wi-Fi enabled temperature probe. It's wireless. You set it. It gives you, it's awesome.
So you just know exactly what it's running on your phone.
Correct.
Right.
And it works Bluetooth. You can get the Meter Plus that actually hooks into your house Wi-Fi. So, tomorrow night, if I want to smoke some more salmon, let's say I do that, and the wife goes, "Oh, hey, it's downtown or street fair. I want to go do." I can still, I don't have to babysit my smoker.
Is that what Terry sounds like?
Yeah. Sorry, dear. But no, that's some common stuff. The other thing is under seasoning.
Okay.
Especially when you got a bigger piece of meat. And I'm talking, a lot of people under season even just steaks. I mean, we got an 1.5 inch ribeye. I mean, that can take a lot of salt and pepper. Don't be afraid to season that, because, given that the smoke gives it some flavor, but there's something about a well-seasoned, there is some other secrets out there, like when you wrap. I like to wrap mine and add more flavor when I'm wrapping, especially in pink butcher paper. I used to wrap in foil. I went away from it. I like the pink or peach butcher, because one, it seals the juices in, and two, it still lets the smoke.
Ooh.
I'm getting technical and fancy.
And you're making me hungry as usual. That's usually how we end this thing. We end it on food. There's no secret. We're middle-aged men. We eat.
We eat, we drink, and we are merry. Yeah.
That too.
I had to add that.
I'm glad you did, because
well, in case the 3 ladies we have in our fan club out there,
right? We're just vulgar usually. Anyways, I'm gonna go clean the boat. I gotta get ready for tomorrow. I'm Chris Husted.
I'm Jason Renner.
This was Review Your Gear Radio.
Thanks for tuning in to Review Your Gear Radio. Be sure to tune in next episode, and don't forget to check out reviewyourgear.com. Also, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Till next time, tight lines and good times in the outdoors.